P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Did he do it, right? I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before.
That's 50 Cent on the Enthusiast podcast earlier this month, defending why he's always been outspoken about longtime rival Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah, you're not gonna believe this, but I just got a call and Puffy's confirmed for Shreveport. It's lit! Nah. That nigga can't come. He fuck around. Everybody be scared to drink. Coffee in cups. Fucking wake up, your butt sore.
Well, as always, 50 Cent had to throw his 2 cents in, and he jumped on the gram and quoted the classic 69 Boys track and cleaned it up a little. He said, Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Roll, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the front, to the back, let's slide, let's slide. That's why he be in the corner pleasuring himself. He be in the corner all the time, pop off.
We already know that when 50 Cent enters a scandal, it's never just shade. It's total demolition. Of course, I bet you guys also know that whenever there's a chance to clown Diddy, 50 Cent will take it. However, things are different this time around because we are talking about pretty serious and nasty allegations against Diddy. And 50? Well, it's not just industry beef, y'all, because fans are saying Fif is going to drag Diddy to the ground after reports revealed that he might be backing Cassie up. Let's rewind for a second. For years, folks thought Diddy was untouchable. His lawyers, confidants, his publicists, working overtime, and the industry, quietly protecting him since the 90s. But everything shifted the moment Cassie took that witness stand, pregnant, calm, and ready to blow the lid off everything. Her testimony wasn't just emotional, it was explosive. And when those courtroom bombshells started leaking online, 50 Cent did what 50 does best, pulled out his iPhone like it was a weapon and started firing off memes like bullets. Because now, this ain't rumors. This is sworn testimony in a federal investigation. And while Hollywood's still playing dumb, pretending they've never shared a toast with Diddy, 50 is on Instagram naming names, cracking jokes, and dragging anybody who ever popped bottles in the bad boy VIP. And let's be honest, love him or hate him, 50 Cent has always had a sixth sense for shady behavior. In fact, at one point, he mentioned how he was the only one who actually called out Diddy even before Cassie filed the lawsuit.
You've been saying this for a long time now, and then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy.
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated to a degree.
Was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what was going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that freaky shit. All of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal.
While the world was dancing at Diddy's parties, 50 was watching. While everyone reposted poolside videos, he was collecting receipts. And now, those receipts are crashing down like a house of cards. This ain't petty, it's surgical. 50 is treating this trial like the season finale of Power, but instead of Tommy and Ghost, it's Diddy versus the feds. And the plot? Way darker than anything you've seen on Stars. But here's the kicker. 50 doesn't even have to scream, "I told y'all." It's written all over his posts. It's in the timing, the tone, the sarcasm, the "y'all called me crazy, said I was just hating, but now look." Energy unmatched. So here we are. Diddy's camp is scrambling in court while 50 lights Instagram on fire. And make no mistake, this isn't just a pop culture moment. This is the unraveling of a carefully crafted myth, the fall of a man whose parties were once too powerful to speak on. And now, the silence is cracking. Cassie's speaking. The internet's watching. And 50? He's making sure nobody ever forgets what's really going down. Let's get into it. Now, we all know that the courtroom has been packed for a couple of days now, especially since people want to know what the verdict is going to be in this pretty controversial trial. In case you missed it, Diddy is facing countless allegations and is getting painted as one of the nastiest men in the industry today. However, no cameras or recording is allowed inside. Just a jury, some lawyers, and one very, very pregnant Cassie Ventura walking in like a quiet storm. And sitting across from her? The man she says terrorized her for over a decade, Sean Diddy Combs. And if you've been following this whole mess from the beginning, you'll know that whenever something is going on about Diddy, 50 Cent is not far behind. Like, this guy will take every opportunity to call out or drag Diddy. So, when Cassie decided to take the stand, people were low-key expecting 50 to comment. And let's just say they were not disappointed. Going back, Cassie didn't come to play, okay? If you think she'll sugarcoat or hold back, well, think again, because this lady suffered a lot. There are also people who commented that they thought Cassie would look nervous, but reporters inside the courtroom pointed out that the lady was anything but nervous. Her voice? Calm. Her words? Chilling and savage. She talked about the so-called freak-offs, drug-fueled sex parties where she says she was filmed, humiliated, and pushed into things she never agreed to. And let me tell you, this wasn't a 50 Shades fantasy. This was a prison made of wigs, baby oil, and leather masks. And Diddy? According to her, he was the warden.
In the beginning, when we were in love and we did these freak-offs, she responded and she said, it felt right. So that's what she says in that email. And defense counsel questioned her about that and what she was referring to. It was those freak-offs. And she said, it felt right. She said, we were in love. And then she said, I'm afraid, though, that I'm becoming just one of your girlfriends in order for you to get your fantasies off. So they are going through all of these communications, Ted, between Sean Combs and Cassie, trying to establish consent, that she was a willing participant, and in fact, sending messages to him, one of which I'm not going to read, talking about the things that she wanted to be doing in these freak-offs.
She said she had to take drugs just to disassociate. And we're not talking about one bad night and a Tylenol PM. We're talking opiates, MDMA, whatever little chemical cocktail could pull her out of her body and make her forget what was happening to her, over and over and over again. For Cassie, survival meant sedation. These so-called freak-offs weren't just once-a-month things. Nah. Cassie testified they were back-to-back. Some weeks, it was every night. She wasn't recovering. She was enduring. At one point, she even told the court, I tried to flush it out with water. Like she was chugging water to fight off infections so she wouldn't miss a session. Let that sink in. She had urinary tract infections so frequently from these freak-offs that the antibiotics stopped working. Ciprofloxacin, that's not something you buy over the counter. That's prescribed when your body is already under siege. And Cassie straight up said it lost effectiveness. Her body was like, we've seen too much.
He fed her cocaine and ecstasy, and she felt forced to participate in them with male escorts. Asked how she felt after the first one, quote, I was high, so there wasn't much feeling, a mixture of dirty and confusion, and they became a job. There was no time to do anything else. The longest was 4 days. This was the first time Cassie and Diddy have come face to face since attending Kim Porter's funeral in 2018.
And still, Diddy made her go through with it. And it didn't stop at UTIs. Cassie described sores in her mouth, not from illness, but from repeated oral sex involving lube and other materials during these sessions. Imagine having open sores in your mouth and still being forced to entertain strangers while your boyfriend watched, directed, filmed, and it gets worse. Cassie talked about GI issues, stomach pain, and vomiting. Her body was breaking down. And the only thing waiting for her after each freak-off wasn't comfort. It was Diddy, ready to line up the next act. Cassie said she would vomit mid-session, and even then, Diddy told her to keep going. This wasn't some dark kink gone too far. This was calculated, controlled, cruel. But it didn't stop at infections and nausea. In 2013, Cassie says Diddy physically assaulted her so badly that she needed plastic surgery. Let me repeat that. Plastic surgery. He allegedly caused a gash in her face that was so deep, so damaging she had to go under the knife to fix it. That's not a slap. That's not a push. That's a life-altering injury, and that's just one incident in a decade-long pattern. This isn't just a woman coming forward. This is a survivor breaking the silence about a man the world treated like hip-hop royalty for years, all while she was quietly popping pills just to survive his freak-offs. And y'all, let's call it what it is. These weren't parties. These were orchestrated assaults dressed up in luxury hotel suites. There were lights, cameras, wigs, stripper heels. Everything was choreographed, down to the way her nails had to be done. French tips only, every time. because Diddy allegedly had rules, had checklists.
She says, quote, in the first year of our relationship, he proposed a sexual encounter he called voyeurism, a sexual encounter with a third party. I don't remember how it came about. It entails hiring an escort and setting up so I can perform for Sean. She continues, quote, it involves Sean watching me with another person, and he would direct us in what we were doing. When asked who oversaw hiring those escorts, Cassie alleges, quote, eventually it became a job for me. I had the contacts to set it up in the hotel room and all of that. In the beginning, Sean set it up. She continues, quote, there was no space to do anything else, staying out for days on end, taking drugs and drinking, having sex with a stranger. They would be 36, 48, 72 hours.
And if Cassie didn't meet the standards, the freak-off still happened. That's why she told the jury that even when her body was failing her, even when her infections were so bad no meds worked anymore, she kept showing up. Not because she wanted to, but because she was terrified not to. And somehow, through all of that, she's the one people said was willing. Yeah, okay, the courtroom didn't need strobe lights or sound effects. Her testimony hit harder than any beat Diddy ever produced. And as we'll see later, this wasn't just about one woman. This was a system, a pattern, and it was starting to crack, one horrifying detail at a time. And when she said she wanted to stop, Diddy would text her asking if she was ready to freak off. If she didn't respond fast enough, he'd get cold, robotic, manipulative. That was just the beginning. The jury was shown evidence, images, and video clips that only they were allowed to see. But from what reporters said, it was damning. One juror literally had to look away. Another clutched the sides of their chair. Everyone in the gallery could feel it, the weight, the disgust. Cassie described how Diddy would bring in male escorts, sometimes asking them to urinate on her, while he sat in the corner, watching. Sometimes he filmed, sometimes he directed. And the most haunting part? One of those escorts took the stand and said Cassie looked gone, like her soul had left the room. And still, Diddy just sat there, stone-faced, arms folded, no emotion, like a man watching his empire turn to dust, in real time. And of course, we have 50 Cent enter the chat. And when I say entered, I mean he body-slammed the internet with meme after meme after meme. The man turned Cassie's testimony into a one-man roast session. He called Diddy Fruit Pop, mocked his hotel setups, posted clown emojis, even asked if Jay-Z still wanted to go out with his boy. You know 50, he wasn't gonna miss this moment. But here's the thing. This wasn't just trolling. This was personal. 50 has been warning us for years. Years. He said people called him a hater, said he was bitter, jealous, and making stuff up. But now, everything he said is being echoed by witnesses under oath. Oh man, let's take it way back to one of the moments that really set this whole thing off, when 50 Cent basically looked at Diddy and said, "Nah, this dude's fruity." Yeah, you heard that right. So picture this. 50's doing an interview, chillin', talking industry stuff, and the host casually brings up Diddy's wild parties. You know, the ones that had everybody in the early 2000s side-eyeing their invites like, what exactly is going down here? And 50? He doesn't even flinch. He just drops a bomb like it's nothing. He says, and I quote, "He asked to take me shopping."
The nigga Puff was like, yeah, like first he was amping him to get stout. Then he was like, so when we gonna get the chance to, to kick it, like we could just hang out, nigga. We gotta kick it.
This is
Puff.
Okay.
He telling me we gotta kick it and shit. And he was like, yo, why don't we like go shopping or some shit? I mean, like I pay for it. And I was like, what the fuck this nigga just say? I got the fuck away from him because I was like, this nigga like fucking. Wait, this nigga just tell me he'd take me shopping.
Now, listen, maybe that sounds innocent to some folks, but 50 was like, hold up, what? He made it really clear that the vibe was off. Like, this wasn't just some casual bro trip to Barney's. This was different, too different. In his words, that might be something a man says to a woman. And from that point on, 50 was out, like, gone. He said the energy was weird, the behavior was weirder, and he wasn't trying to stick around and find out what freak-off really meant before it even had a name. And that was the beginning of the distance. While other rappers were still partying at Diddy's mansion, 50 was already putting two and two together and saying, nah, this doesn't feel right. So when he started clowning Diddy online and calling him Fruit Pop, yeah, that didn't come out of nowhere. That came from experience. That was the warning shot.
And this is shit that goes on. Well, this is a little fruit pop. It's a fruit pop. It's a fruit pop. Trust me. You see these little weird ass pictures and shit like that out there. You should sit out there for no reason. If you don't see accident pictures of me like kissing niggas. Like that doesn't happen by accident. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Look. Later you gonna find out a little shit that I be saying. Do you understand what I'm saying? Man, listen, I'm trying to tell you the truth. But the truth, sometimes it hurts.
And how about that infamous time 50 Cent clowned Diddy's parties like they were some kind of haunted house? Look, 50 has been throwing shade at Diddy's whole vibe for years, but there was one moment that had the whole internet crying, laughing, and low-key questioning what really goes down at those bad boy events. So, here's the scene. 50's on stage, crowd's hyped, and out of nowhere, he starts going off about Diddy's parties. Not in a subtle way. Nah, full-on roast mode. He starts describing these weird hugs he apparently got, like, dude hugging you from the front and the back? At the same time? What kind of Cirque du Soleil freak-off is that? Now, 50 made it clear. He ain't judging if that's your thing. Do you? Live your truth. But him? He wanted no parts. He said the energy at those parties felt too strange, too invasive, and just plain uncomfortable. So uncomfortable that he joked the only place he felt safe was the ladies' bathroom. And honestly, it wasn't just jokes. It was another red flag, another breadcrumb, another moment where 50 was basically telling everybody, yo, something ain't right here. And as always, people laughed it off, said he was just trolling, said he was reaching. But now, with all this freak-off testimony and federal heat coming down on Diddy like a SWAT team, folks are realizing 50 wasn't just being funny. He was being real. He saw it. He felt it. And he bounced before he got caught up in whatever that was. So when 50 said, I don't be going to those parties, he meant it. And now we know exactly why. And listen, if there's one thing we all know about 50 Cent by now, it's that he doesn't just throw shade. He launches full-blown solar eclipses. And when Diddy's mansions got raided by federal agents, oh, 50 was on it like TMZ with a drone. Dude didn't even let the dust settle. The feds weren't even done zipping up their tactical vests, and 50 was already loading up the memes.
Here I am keeping good company with the Drew Barrymore show, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house.
I'm not panicking. They are.
50 referring to the over 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil found when the feds raided Diddy's home in March. One of many details revealed in his now unsealed indictment, which laid out the charges for him.
As soon as those clips hit the timeline, Diddy's Miami and LA cribs swarming with agents, luxury cars blocked in, and security getting shuffled like a deck of cards, 50 jumped straight on Instagram and started firing shots. No filter, no breaks, just pure troll energy. He basically told the whole world that this wasn't a rumor mill smoke. This was a full-blown inferno, and Diddy was in the fire. What really sets people off, though? 50 didn't just come for Diddy. He zoomed in on Diddy's sons getting caught up in the raid footage. Justin and King Combs were seen being detained outside one of the estates, and while most people were shocked or concerned, 50? Nah, he hit the post with receipts, screenshots, headlines, freeze frames, and the caption, straight up disrespectful. He basically said it's no longer Diddy did it, now it's Diddy done. Because in the 50s world, if the feds pull up like that, it means the paperwork is already printed and the case is in motion. It's like the 50s have been waiting for this moment for years. Every time Diddy pops back up on Instagram pretending like nothing's wrong, 50 just grins, knowing the storm is still brewing. And the internet? It's finally catching up. So what did Diddy do? He didn't post. He didn't deny. He didn't even look at Cassie when she was breaking down on the stand. The man who built an empire on charisma, power, and control now sat twitching, avoiding eye contact, scribbling on legal pads like a high schooler caught cheating on a test. At one point, Diddy even pushed himself away from the defense table, just sat back, watching his lawyers scramble to control the damage. But let's be real, this ain't damage control anymore. This is the Titanic after the iceberg. And remember, 50 Cent wasn't done. Next target? Jay-Z. 50 started asking the hard questions, like, why is Jay still friends with Diddy? Why has he stayed silent? And that's where things really spiraled, because now we're hearing about a federal case that names both Diddy and Jay-Z.
50 Cent explained how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy lawsuit blows over. He said, Jay in hibernation, he ain't coming outside till this shit with Puff blow over. No brunch, no lunch, no dinner, lol. I'm all you got, I'm outside.
A Jane Doe says she was 13 when she was drugged and assaulted by them at a party after the MTV Awards. Jay-Z's lawyers had the case dismissed. What is going on behind these velvet ropes?
Jay-Z and Diddy are officially off of the case with the girl who was 13 back in 2000 that said that they had raped her after a VMA party. So over the weekend, that case was voluntarily dismissed with prejudice. So he can't come back and try this again, right? Now, according to the docs, BuzzFeed has sent 2 demand letters back in 2024, which we had talked about, and accused Diddy and Jay-Z of raping this girl back in 2000 when she was 13.
Back to Cassie, the prosecution called her their star witness. But her delivery? It wasn't theatrical. It wasn't dramatic. She just told the truth. Cold, raw, real. She talked about how Diddy used expensive gifts, jewelry, trips, and designer clothes to keep her around. But they weren't presents. They were bribes, a way to shut her up, a way to keep the illusion going while the abuse got worse. Cassie said the cycle was always the same. Abuse, apology, peace, then back to hell. And when she finally left, it took every ounce of strength. She sued in 2023. Diddy paid up, fast, didn't want this in court. But once the feds got involved, there was no escaping it. And then, when things couldn't get any worse for Diddy, 50 Cent dropped the final blow. A straight-up KO, no gloves, no warning, just pure savage energy. 50 took to Instagram, as usual, and said what everybody was thinking but too scared to say. He declared that after hearing Cassie's gut-wrenching, skin-crawling testimony, Diddy, or as he now calls him, the diddler, should have taken the plea deal while he still had the chance. Now look, we gotta pause right there because the diddler? 50 didn't just change the game with that nickname, he ended it. That label hit harder than any diss track, harder than Piggy Bank, harder than anything 50's posted in years. It was brutal, it was comedic, but most of all, it was strategic, because he knew that once that name stuck, it was over. And here's the thing, 50 wasn't wrong. Behind the scenes, Diddy's legal team was apparently in full panic mode. They saw this storm coming from miles away, the feds circling, witnesses flipping, the media waiting with notepads and popcorn. According to insiders, even Diddy's top-tier legal bulldog, Benjamin Braffman, the same guy who handled heavyweight clients like Martin Shkreli and Dominique Strauss-Kahn, allegedly told Diddy to settle down, pay up, and walk away quietly. Word is, the feds came to the table with a plea deal before jury selection, a chance to maybe shave off some decades, a lifeline. And what did Diddy do? He said, "Nah, I'm fighting this." Wrong move. Because now, the circus is in full swing, the tents are up, the lights are on. And Diddy? He's the clown sitting dead center in the ring, sweating under the heat of Cassie's testimony, 50 Cent's memes, and a federal government that does not miss when they lock in on a target. Just days before, 50 was already on his trolling spree. First, he roasted Diddy over that wild claim made in court, that a male escort was allegedly asked to use on Cassie while Diddy watched. 50 responded the only way he knows how, by posting a picture of a statue of a little boy peeing into a fountain. Yup, that one. And the caption? Savage. He basically said, Diddy said in your mouth, SMHLOL. And the internet? Lost it. But he didn't stop there. 50 kept the pressure up, posting an AI-generated meme of himself as one of the Diddy trial jurors, just sitting there with the coldest poker face, ready to throw the book. The caption? Sean Diddy Combs' jury selection for trial is finally complete.
The jury selection for the Diddy trial is complete, and it's 12 versions of 50 Cent. Baby, what? Listen, if this was a real jury for the Diddy trial, that man wouldn't even get to blink twice before the verdict hit. Not one, not two, but a whole panel of 50 Cent, looking like they came straight from G-Unit Court TV. Each one dressed like he about to drop a diss track and a verdict at the same time.
And the kicker? 50 wrote, "I'm not sure if this is fair, but don't worry, be happy." This man turned Diddy's life imploding into a comedy special. But under all the memes, there's a real message. 50 ain't just clowning. He's trying to make it clear to the world, this is what happens when you think you're above consequences. When you believe your money, your fame, and your connections can shield you forever. Because at the end of the day, the feds don't care how many Grammys you got. When they show up with choppers and subpoenas, it's already too late. And 50 knows that. That's why he's been so consistent with this energy. This isn't new beef. He's been calling this out for years. People said he was jealous, bitter, petty. But now, all that trolling is aging like fine wine. It's not just jokes anymore, it's commentary, it's truth bombs. And he's watching everything unfold like he's been waiting for this moment since 2007. So yeah, when 50 said Diddy should have taken the plea deal, he wasn't just being funny. He was being prophetic. And as this trial continues to spiral, we're starting to realize 50 was right all along. Fans are also convinced Diddy is going to rot in jail. Like this one who commented, "One can see how this monster behaves in court. He thinks he can do anything he wants to do, believes he's entitled. He has to pay for his crimes." Another one added, "Yes, I agree with 50 100%. Diddy should not see the light of day except behind bars." Even Gene Deal, Diddy's former security, said, if he thinks he's getting out of this, he's out of his mind. So here we are.
In case if he do, he might like it. But long story short is that he need to take his counsel advice. Because if he think he's gonna get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargain session with him, and he not taking it.
Cassie's on the stand, spilling every detail. 50 Cent's in the bleachers, throwing popcorn and memes. Jay-Z might be next. And Diddy? The man's looking like he aged 20 years in 2 weeks. All the silence, all the power, all the image controls. It's falling apart. One freak out at a time. One text message at a time, one social media post at a time. Because now it's not just rumors, it's testimony, evidence, and it's real. And let's not forget, 50 said something that stuck with a lot of people. He said, "The reason other celebs are quiet is because they went to those parties too." Now that's a statement. Because this case isn't just about Diddy, it's about an entire culture of silence. People who knew, people who looked away, people who smiled on the red carpet while Cassie was suffering in silence behind closed doors. 50's not just roasting Diddy. He's pointing fingers at everyone who let this go unchecked. So what now? More witnesses are expected. More details are coming. But one thing's for sure. Diddy's not the untouchable mogul he once was. Not anymore. And 50, he's got the popcorn ready. He's watching. We're all watching. But the question is, who's next? Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with 50 Cent? Should Diddy have taken that plea deal? Or is this trial just the beginning of something way bigger? Also, make sure to stay tuned for more updates about this crazy and messy courtroom drama.